All right, do the whole thing as if I'm Sylvester Stallone. Yo, this is great. Yo, AJ. What's going on, everybody? Thanks so much for tuning in to Chemical Guy's Detail Garage. Today we have this beautiful Challenger in the shop, and we've already washed it and clayed it, but now we're going to move on to the protection stage because this vehicle sits outside where it's going to be exposed to water spots, contamination, and all kinds of harmful UV rays that could be damaging the clear coat. So today we're going to show you how to properly protect it, as well as enhance some of that shine and metallic flake. So to begin, we've already washed this vehicle and clayed it to remove the embedded contaminants that are in the pores of the paint, and that's given it a really slick finish. And now we're going to skip over the polishing step and move right onto the protection stages. But first we want to use some quick detail spray just to remove any kind of light dust or any fingerprints that may have accumulated on the vehicle as it was sitting. And this is great for any color vehicle, but I like to use it on dark color cars to not only clean it in between car washes, but also to enhance gloss. We're also going to use a green microfiber towel. And we're just going to roll away all the dust and dirt that was on the surface. Even though it's fairly clean, this is just a great precautionary step to take just so we're not grinding anything into the surface as we actually put on our coatings. There we go. We can flip over to a fresh side to buff away any of the excess or any streaks and runs. And like I said, the car was already clayed because we want to make sure that we have the best bond between our coating, which we're going to use a wax for today. But a clean surface makes it easier and also makes a longer lasting bond between whatever you're going to put on the surface, whether it's a glaze or a ceramic sealant or a wax. We're just going to focus on this fender and a little bit of the hood here just to show you guys, just to demonstrate the proper procedures. So now that it's nice and clean, we're going to move on to applying our wax. But as you see, the paint is it's a very dark color. It has a lot of metallic flake in there. So we've chosen a wax that's going to not only enhance that, but also protect that. And that's going to be Pete's 53 Black Pearl. This is a paste wax that has natural blended carnaubas in there. And all you have to do is melt some onto your applicator pad. This is a hand applied only wax, which is typical for most paste waxes, just because it will be really difficult to get some of this onto a machine polisher. And just like when you're applying any kind of coating, you want to first dab it out and then start working it back and forth into the surface that you are applying or protecting. And you can use this on essentially any color, but this works really well on dark colors and dark colors that have metallic flakes, such as this one. And this will start bonding immediately, so you can either allow it to cure for about 5 to 10 minutes depending on the ambient temperature, or you can simply buff it off after you've already applied it to your section. I would recommend doing a panel at a time if you're going to wipe off after every section. What I like to do is I'll go over it one direction and then I'll come back using the opposite direction just to ensure that we're not missing anything or leaving any high spots. A lot of people have trouble with buffing off the wax after it's cured, but that's typically because either it was a heavy coat or it allowed it too long to sit on the surface and then it hardened. So what I would recommend doing is using a cross-hatching pattern. This will thin out the coat, makes it easier to buff off, and it's also going to spread it, which will save you product. A thin coat is all you need because initially the only layer that's bonding is going to be that first layer that touches the surface. So a lot of people want to know if you put a heavy coat on, will it give you more shine or more protection? And what I would recommend doing is just apply a secondary coat. So you can apply 2 thin coats, and that's going to give you a longer lasting bond, but it's also going to give you a better bond with more protection. And as you see here, it's already basically started to haze up. So now we're going to take a clean microfiber towel and wipe off the excess. And I like to use a happy ending towel just because this is a very soft, plush towel that has very high fibers or a very plush pile. And this will pick up all the product or any kind of waxes or polishes, glaze, sealants without scratching the surface. Now we're unveiling that high shine. What's also great is this makes the surface feel really slick, so this improves your hydrophobic properties. So let's say you have a ceramic coating on your vehicle, this is a great way to boost it, or if you don't have that, you just want a simple old school traditional style wax, this will still give you hydrophobic properties to help repel water spots. It also reduces dust cling, so it's going to make it harder for things to land on the surface and stick to it. So this will keep your car looking cleaner for longer. It's also just a great way to maintain the exterior of your vehicle, giving you a beautiful shine as well as a long-lasting layer of protection. A lot of people want to know how long a paste wax lasts, and typically it's not going to last as long as a cream would because there's different kinds of polymers added to it. But this wax alone, with proper maintenance and also proper application, You probably get about 4 months out of it before I need to reapply it, but I would recommend doing it maybe once every other month just to boost it and also maintain it. So now after buffing off the spent product, which I mentioned that we can take it off almost immediately, this wax is great because it's a simple wipe on, wipe off method, but I would still recommend using a soft towel such as a happy ending and also using linear motions. Linear and meaning that you can use a cross-hatching pattern, straight lines, but you want to avoid doing any kind of swirling motion because if you should pick up anything or maybe the towel wasn't clean and it creates a swirl is very easy to notice and it's also a lot harder to polish out as opposed to a straight line scratch. And also you see that the gloss has been really enhanced, the vehicle looks really wet, but also it feels really smooth. The wax has added a protective coating that's going to help repel any kind of harmful elements while also making it super hydrophobic. And what's also great is it's going to enhance the metallic flakes. So for those of you guys that are looking to enhance the depth of your vehicle while also adding protection, I highly recommend using Pizza 53. And one final thing is when you're working around rubber trim or plastic components, you always want to avoid putting any kind of polished ceramic glaze sealant or waxes on there because they are texturized, which means they're porous, and they can also absorb wax, which stains it, giving you that nasty chalky look. So if you're working on an area like this where you're uncomfortable with waxing, just either get as close to it as possible without going over it, or you can always mask it off to avoid any kind of damage. So guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and if you appreciated today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, drop your comments down below for future videos, and we'll see you guys next time.